What's up, guys? Your moral leader here. Look forward to meditation on 10 signs you might be a sex addict. Sex addict, or just alcoholic, or any addict. These are not generally psychological terms. Yeah, sex addict got into the latest DSM I think in some way, shape, and form. But generally these terms come from the world of addiction, which is different from the world of psychology. And in my experience, 10 years of psychotherapy didn't shift my addictions, and a lifetime in organized religion, whoa, she's hot, didn't really shift my addictions either. Didn't make any appreciable difference. So I find addiction a useful category, but it's its own world. You can't apply religious dogma to it. You can't apply psychological dogma to it. It's its own world. And by and large, it's self-selecting. So by and large, other people, it's not their place to diagnose you as an alcoholic or an overeater or an underowner or a debtor or a sex addict or a love addict or a codependent or an adult child of alcoholics. These are terms and programs that people select for themselves, and my primary attitude to this stuff is, does it work? For example, I know this is going to sound heretical, but I don't think it really matters whether or not one is technically a sex addict, or that program helps your life, then the price of admission is to say that you're a sex addict to a room of other sex addicts. So it's not really a big price to pay if you're not sure you're a sex addict, but in fact, you're sure that you're not a sex addict, but you find benefit just going to meetings, and you feel sober and sane and happy afterwards. Yeah, so you can keep telling yourself, yeah, I'm not really a sex addict, I'm just getting benefit. I don't know why. I'm kind of anxious and jumpy, and don't know how to express my feelings, and I feel lonely, and my life doesn't work, and I get a little obsessed, don't always exercise good judgment, but I'm not a sex addict, but I just feel better after going to these meetings. That's perfectly fine. So I'm basing some of this off an article on thefix.com. I like thefix.com. She's cute. I wonder if she's clean and sober though. And it's from 2015, 10 signs you might be a sex addict. Oh yeah, let me put my spectacles on. Okay, let me check. Spectacles, testicles, ready to go. Okay. If you can do a search, 40 questions for Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous, SLAA. Just Google search 40 questions, SLAA, and that's a good test. If I answered for like any particular period in my life, when I did the test, say I may have only answered yes to say 18 of the 40, but if I answered it for any period in my life, then I think I answered 32 out of 40. So I've never been arrested. Okay, my addictions weren't, I didn't hit that low of a bottom. So you lead a double life, and I've always kept my life in compartments, which is not a way to thrive, because ideally your religious life complements your social life and complements your business life, and it fits in just fine. Oh man, I didn't need to go this way. And fits in just fine with your recreational life. I'm in this time tracking program, and they recommend only 5 categories. So there's recreation, there's work, there's vision, there's recovery, one other category that I don't remember. Okay, so you lead a double life. That's a good sign that you just might be an addict, including a sex addict. So you should always have like people in different compartments of my life. And on those rare occasions when people from one compartment started meeting people from another compartment in my life, it made me very nervous. So for example, for about a decade I was writing on the porn industry. At the same time I was living within Orthodox Judaism. So I remember I was walking along a street in a very Orthodox part of Los Angeles, and I started seeing these porn people walking towards me, and I just like bailed out of there. I did not want to interact with porn people in an Orthodox Jewish environment. Or one time I covered a movie and was chit-chatting with the set designer, and then a couple of weeks later I met her at Beth Jacob for the Purim party. This is 2001, so that was kind of awkward. I did not expect to meet the set director from a porn film at Beth Jacob, the largest Orthodox synagogue west of the Mississippi. So that would make me nervous. A book party for a couple of my books in 2004, and so all these people from various parts of my life came to the party, and then they all kind of pretty much stayed in their own little worlds, their own little groups, and then I would just kind of flit around between the different groups. But knowing that there are these people from these wildly divergent worlds of mine all together on top of the same hotel as we celebrated on the rooftop, made me incredibly anxious. I wasn't able to enjoy my party because of my double life. And today, I don't feel that at all. Like if I ran into clients at my synagogue, or any of the regular synagogues I go to, it wouldn't freak me out in the least. If I was engaging in recreation and ran into clients, if I was on a date, ran into clients, or ran into people I know from recovery or from Orthodox Judaism, it would be fine. It's not like I want to hide my dating life from my Orthodox Jewish community. It's not like I want to hide my Orthodox Jewish community from the various ways I make a living. All my different worlds, they all meld. They're all fine. It wouldn't matter if people from one component of my life, ran into people from another component of my life. I meet great people here on these streams. There was that guy who had the interesting flags on Sunday night. He was on my show. He's got a couple of flags from, I think, Germany, 1930s, 1940s Germany up on his wall. And very polite, well-spoken, erudite young man. I have perfectly good conversations with him and my Orthodox Jewish friends like David. David was on the same show. So if you're leading a double life, big sign that you might be an addict. You exploit others for sex. So in most of life, you're a caring, considerate, or at least a decent person. But when it comes to sex, you just can't make good decisions. You might use force. You might be a criminal. You just might use lies, emotional manipulation. You might throw money at the problem. You just become a beast and a demon when it comes to sex. So in most areas of your life, you're an upstanding citizen. When it comes to fulfilling your sexual needs, you become a beast. Okay, that's a good sign that you're a sex addict. Your life is constantly in crisis. That used to be my life. It used to just bounce from crisis to crisis to crisis. I had the same psychotherapist from about 1998 to 2008. I wasn't with her every week in that time. It was on and off. So go for a year or so, take a break. Go for a year or so, take a break. And anyway, she said, in that early therapy we were doing in 98, 99, 2000, 2001, it felt like we were just doing harm reduction and managing your latest crises. And we weren't really able to do deep work. Another thing she said in 1998 when we first started out, she said, I thought you're in danger of becoming a psychopath. And I'm not a psychopath. What I was sex addict. Like, that part of my life, I was exploitive. That part of my life, I was manipulative. That part of my life, I was not my best self. So I was exploiting other people, trying to exploit other people, and because I was so fixated on meeting my sexual and romantic needs, my life was in crisis, because the rest of my life wasn't working, because I was just like fixated, obsessed about matters of sex and love. Another sign you might be a sex addict is if you're constantly preoccupied with sex, so that interferes with your life. So, for example, if you can't drive down the street without being distracted by beautiful women, so that you become a significantly impaired driver, you're probably a sex addict. If you can't do your job because you're always thinking about sex, you get fired because you're trying to bang the intern, and you just banged your boss, and you're trying to bang everyone you can, bang the clients, and you keep getting fired, okay, or your mind's just not on your work. I have friends who are attorneys or doctors who are sex addicts, and they typically get paid $250, $400 an hour, and they're wasting probably 3 hours a day on their sex addiction. And when they're not explicitly pursuing their sex highs, it's contaminating the rest of their life. So they're not able to do their work. They don't make good choices with their partners. Like, if you're a sex addict, it means the capacity to make sound